this. So let's fucking hope it actually works this time. Okay. Bum. Alright, says we are live. How's it going, everybody? And welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network Link 306. My numbering is completely out of whack for multiple reasons, but no one here needs to learn about that until probably our next special guest. But either way, I am your host, Spencer. Don't talk to me about unions while I'm at a job that hates unions, Presley. Joining me today, at least for a little bit of the show, is a man who not only plays the Breath of the Wild on Master Mode difficulty, but also his dating life, Mac. Macca, how's it going?
Hello. I really wish I could turn master mode off, you know?
What's like the dating equivalent of master mode, where like in Zelda you can't find hearts, you have to like use items. Like, what's the dating equivalent of that?
God, I would say being a guy on Tinder.
That helps. That helps a
not
lot.
Traditionally attractive guy on Tinder.
I mean, listen, don't make me have to make a YouTube poll. We can make a Is Mac Hot poll. We know what'll happen. You know what's sad? That should be the first time I've said that on this channel, and it's not. And I don't like that. I know I've already made that poll before. But Mac, it's been... I think the last time you were on was for January, so it's been a hot month, almost like actually 3 months now. So,
Yes.
How's life been treating you? What have you been up to? Where have you been? How many momos have you conned?
It's been good. I kind of talked a bit about you and I talked about this a little bit beforehand, but I finally got around to watching Twin Peaks, only the original stuff, not the return. So I've seen seasons 1 and 2 and the movie by now. But yeah, beyond that, just, doing stuff, doing whatever.
How's the P5 review marathon treating you?
Good. I got the summer video, which would be July and August, going up tomorrow for everyone else. It's currently available early for my patrons right now.
And are we still positive? Are we what's the vibe check for Royal, or very late vibe check?
So for P5 in general, my feelings are probably the highest they've been since, Kamoshida. But in terms of Royal, in terms of Royal specific, I'm still just at a point of like Kasumi is there sometimes, and it's kind of cool. There's not a ton much else.
I feel that. Also, shout out to Alex A in chat, who brings up a great point. I didn't even think of. I kind of gave up on this. Atlas West, or at least the people in charge of Shop Atlus, dude, they removed the P5R Once More edition, the one they couldn't sell out of and had like 20,000 left.
They just removed that?
Yeah, they just removed it from the whole website. You can't even order it anymore.
Damn, okay.
So if you were hoping to get that on clearance, you're just going to have to wait till they make their way to Five Below, I guess.
Yeah.
Now if you just look up in their shop One More, you just get the Morgana Hugs keychain, which looks hilariously weird.
Yeah. I still got that thing up on my monitor.
All right. I gotta think of some a good question for you. I have two unrelated questions, and we're gonna jump into the topic because, as is tradition with SMTN, God forbid I ever just have a long, rambling podcast ever again, and they have to be short because my life is short. But I've been meaning to ask you this: how is the Master Mode playthrough going? I've dipped in and out every now and then, but we've never really talked about it. Of like, what kind of inspired you for it? How have you been enjoying it? Are you hating it? Are you worried you're going to burn yourself out of Zelda before Tears of the Kingdom? Like, where are we at with this?
So, I don't think I'm not worried about burning myself out or anything, mainly because what I'm excited for with Tears of the Kingdom is like all of the new stuff to explore and mess around with. Whereas with the master mode run, this is essentially just me like kind of not refreshing myself, but like trying to have like a second experience with something that I can experience a second time. Basically, a large reason why I enjoyed the game the first time around was because of exploring and figuring things out and like seeing what was there. But now that I've seen all that stuff, it's like kind of impossible to have that same experience again of discovering shit. So what I'm doing with this is more so just like kind of enjoying the game at its bare minimum of not bare minimum, but like just going in and like experiencing the game just kind of in general again, and get used to it and prepare for what's it? The new the
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. I almost said the 12th.
Oh yeah, that too. So the other one I've got to ask, since you've been coming off of the David Lynch-a-thon, what was one character who surprised you, whether it be for better or for worse, in Twin Peaks?
With David Lynch, with Twin Peaks, like a character that surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Pete. I really liked Pete. He was he's never like super important, but whenever he shows up, he's always just kind of a delight to be around. He's the best part of the mill plot line, and I kind of actively dislike the mill plot line.
I think it's you and a lot of people.
Yeah. But no, it was I really liked Pete. Bobby surprised me with how much I liked him. Same with his dad, because it's just like Bobby is like, oh, he's such a piece of crap. He's not a great person. He does stuff. He does drugs, and he was cheating on Laura and stuff. Also, Audrey. I really liked Audrey too. She's like one of the few characters who actually was like making progress.
Yeah, no, that is a good point actually about her. Yeah, that is one of the things that definitely makes helped her stand out. I'm a little sad you didn't want to mention either Kiefer Sutherland or David Lynch from the movie, though.
Oh yeah. I forgot Kiefer Sutherland was in
I think he also forgot he was in that movie.
I was surprised to find he was in the movie, and then I forgot he was in the movie because him and David Bowie are only in the first 30 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
And then everything beyond that is dealing almost exclusively with Laura.
Well, what was always so funny to me, if anyone ever wants people, I think, when they think of funny Kiefer Sutherland moments, mostly think of the weird interviews regarding Metal Gear Solid 5. Never forget the fantastic video of Kiefer Sutherland drunk out of his mind jumping into a Christmas tree. That's one of the best videos of all time. I highly recommend everyone look that up at one point.
Oh, yeah.
But sadly, we're not here to talk about Kiefer Sutherland or David Lynch's very unique accents. Which Mac, you want to give a shot at David Lynch? Like, I feel like you're a good accents guy. Give me your Lynch.
Say one more time.
Give me your best David Lynch impression.
Okay, give me a second. Okay, now, Coop, I'm gonna need you to go over there and give that girl a big old hug on the face. Give her a big old hug on the face.
Big old hug
on the cheek. Coop, excuse me, you're gonna need to speak up, Coop. I can't quite understand you.
I think the best part is I could unironically see David Lynch yelling to hug a girl on the face.
Hug a girl on the face. Yeah, no, especially with how that show was written, like. There's some crazy stuff.
You're in for a treat with The Return. Whenever you get around to that in the year 2020X, like you'll really appreciate it, I think.
I will say, by the way, I am fully aware of the not the. I don't actually know much. I don't really know anything about the story of The Returns, but what I will say is I know the thing with The Returns. I'm going into it with the right expectations. because I like literally from the moment it came out, I heard what it was actually doing. So I'm not going in there expecting more Twin Peaks, at least in the sense that everyone else was hoping it would be.
Oh, okay, see, I thought you were gonna be like, oh, I watched the Twin Perfect Twin Peaks video, so I've been spoiled on all of it.
Oh no! I know nothing.
Okay, that's good at least. So you're not like that level of spoiler won't happen for you, so that's fine. But yeah, everybody, we had some interesting Sega Atlus news today, and by interesting, I mean I woke up, immediately messaged my friends who were still at Atlus, and went, "Huh, this now makes sense why everyone I know at the company has been leaving in droves." Sega and Atlus West, specifically, we should say, have launched I.G.I.S CWA, which is short for. Gotta pull this up because God forbid I remember it. Allied Employees Guild Allied Employees Guild Improving Sega, and yeah, basically Sega and Atlus West employees got together and are trying to unionize. They are far from the first Western studio doing it, but I would say this is one of the more interesting ones with it, because like we've seen some stuff with Activision Blizzard, like with Raven, and even today we saw with ZeniMax. I don't know if you saw Mac, but like the people at ZeniMax Media are actually trying to unionize as well under Microsoft. But
I did not see that.
yeah, ZeniMax, the like developer side of ZeniMax, just announced it today. But what's interesting about this one is this is the first major Japanese-owned company who's trying to unionize. And before we kind of get into it, I'm just gonna I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna first read their mission statement in their tweet, which, by the way, check out their Twitter. It's at takes A.E.G.I.S. But yes, I'm going to read their little mission statement here, and then we can kind of talk about it. And if you all out there have some comments as well, or whether you are pro or anti-union, I would be very curious what kind of fans think about this. But without further ado, we, the workers of Sega of America, are unionizing. And by the way, it mostly just says Sega. Sega is Atlus West. Atlus West is Sega West. Sega West is Atlus West. So that's why you're not going to see a lot of like the word Atlus, but they're all the same employees. We, the workers of Sega of America, are unionizing as the Allied Employees Guild Improving Sega, A.E.G.I.S. With the Communication Workers of America, CWA, we are united in our belief that we are banding together, we can secure a future where we are empowered to advocate ourselves and for our colleagues. As employees of Sega, our goal is to create high-quality video games and cross-media experiences for the wide, devoted fan base. Our lack of control over our own working conditions has greatly hampered this goal. In the interest of delivering the best quality product for our fans, we must have the opportunity to make decisions that impact our working conditions. We must ensure that Sega remains competitive in the growing industry amidst wages that are below the industry average, weak benefits, lack path of promotion. Unionization is the answer. Our workers in the audience deserve better games made by people who are making a living wage. In our quest to reclaim our collective power, we have built bridges with fellow workers who, from across our company in efforts to understand our shared issues. And those are unique to each department. As one example, nearly one-third of Sega's longtime workers are still not full-time. They have no paid time off, proper training, or even bereavement leave, despite dedicating years of their lives to Sega. While these issues may affect each department to varying degrees, we come together as a united front and are committed to establishing a culture of equality, diversity, open communication. Together, we will ensure fair treatment to all employees regardless of position. Here is our mission as a union and what we are trying to obtain. Higher base pay for all, following industry standards with raises tied to cost of living and inflation. Improved stable benefits for all, including healthcare, retirement, remote work opportunities, and more. Increased clarity, outlined opportunities for advancement. Balanced workloads and schedules and defined responsibilities for all positions. Adequate staffing and departments to end patterns of overwork. Our demands are in line with Sega's core values. These measures will serve to strengthen our company and improve the quality of games we produce. As we secure better working conditions for Sega, we look forward to collaborating with Sega branches worldwide. We at A.E.G.I.S. CWA are proud to unionize along many of our friends and peers in the gaming industry, and we will protect one another as we journey to make Sega of America a healthier and happier place to work overall. We ask that Sega of America Incorporated leadership recognize the democratic rights to organize without interference by voluntarily recognizing our union without delay, and committing to a policy of neutrality that holds the stated code and conduct to respect our employees' right to order for labor management consultation. Signed, AEGISCWA. Mac, let me get a drink, but first off, what do you think of this?
I think, ultimately, yeah, unions, good things, definitely good things. Of course, there have been a few that are a little iffy, but like the video game industry in particular, I think really needs, to unionize more than they really have been, just because things like crunch culture and the treatment a lot of them have been getting is insane. With Sega, of course, with Sega West, Sega America, whatever, it's a little different because a lot of what they're doing is less development and more so localization. So it's not inherently going to be a lot of the same pitfalls, but there is still going to be a lot of overlap with it. So yeah, no, I think it's a good thing that they're doing this.
And another question I kind of want to ask before we get into more of the nitty-gritty, do you think two things? One, will this be officially recognized? And B, or two, because apparently I can't think, will this lead to anything substantial? Because right now, every video game company that's tried to unionize has pretty much just been having one big uphill battle with very little benefits to speak of, and most have just been hit with retaliation, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But what about you? Like, do you think like there's a chance this might be treated differently? Will this being a Japanese-based company be like more harmful, more helpful? Like, where are you at?
I think, well, the main thing is that, this is the American branch as opposed to, whereas, a lot of the heads are going to be over in Japan. I think there's definitely going to be some resistance in that sense. But I don't know. I feel like hopefully things will end up working out, but I'm sure there will be there is going to be a level of resistance from Sega Japan, as well as, of course, just Sega America, but specifically I feel like from Japan. I don't know. Hopefully, I really don't know how this is going to go. Hopefully it helps, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm really stuck where I think there is a reason they announced this when they did. And think about it like this. What is a big move that Sega has just made recently in the public light?
Say it one more time.
What is like a big move that Sega has just recently done in the public light?
Oh, crap. What was it?
They spent $7 billion to buy the fucking Angry Birds company.
Yes, on Rovio.
So
insane.
I think, like, if you're an underpaid and overworked Atlus or Sega employee, and, like, your bosses are telling you, we just don't have the budget, we just don't have the time, blah, 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 and then they go and drop $7 billion on fucking Rovio, I think this is you saying, okay, we're going to do... It's like the same way, like, how Microsoft, if let's just say in a hypothetical world, if Sony bought Square Enix, Microsoft would immediately say, look at the hypocrisy of them trying to stop the Activision Blizzard deal,
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like that, where it's like, okay, like, with this deal going on, and, like, obviously we get it, like, they're very big, also, apologies, not $7 billion, $775 million, so almost $1 billion. I'm from Kansas. Not great with numbers, but still close to $1 billion, and a whole lot of people's like paychecks there. I'm not saying Sega can't buy Rovio. I think they're definitely picking them up at their weakest time they've ever been as a company. But I think when you look at what are things Sega's fans want them to do, I don't think focusing on super games, live services, and mobile games is going to be super beneficial. Because, like, outside of now having outside of having Angry Birds and Sonic crossovers, what part of Sega buying Rovio will any of their fans benefit from? Genuinely.
Nothing. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if it's I wouldn't even be surprised if this might be something where they're picking them up less for like, oh, we're gonna make big bucks or anything, but more so just kind of like a passive income thing. I don't think there's necessarily going to be any benefit, at least for like what fans want. I think because like Angry Birds, people don't really talk about Angry Birds anymore, but I'm sure there's still millions of people who play it every single day. So I feel like it might just be, hey, we want to have this just so, just to kind of like bulk up our revenue streams and stuff.
I feel like there's definitely a cash flow to Rovio in the form of Angry Birds as an IP. The problem is Rovio literally they're just not able to make money well with their IP. Like, they have tried and failed so many times at like making a true either successor or a way that keeps them making money with Angry Birds, and it always just kind of goes back to, well, just give us the original 2 games or the original trilogy. That's all we kind of really want, and no one wants anything else. But you can't have a giant staff like Rovio has without kind of losing out on anything. So, like, I feel like it's a good time to buy them, but if I was an employee of Rovio, I'd be like, oh yeah, Sega's going to fire all of us, because Sega doesn't need any of them. They're mostly just buying them for their IP, if anything. Like they don't even need to make Angry Birds 3. They could just keep putting out, like, Angry Birds and just making the money from that, and I'm sure the deal will, like, pay for itself in a matter of years. But there are other weird questions, because, like, think about it like this, Mac. Angry Birds has already crossed over with Sonic twice.
Yes.
Because they had the Angry Birds Epic game with Sonic in it, and then they had the Sonic Dash game that had the Angry Bird character in it as a playable character. Now, how does he run when he has no legs? I don't know. But he's still in it.
He rolls super hard.
He rolls. Like, that was like 8 years ago, to be fair. But it is just one of those, like, little funny things of, like, I'm sure for a while Sega's like thought, hey, who's someone we want to be in the mobile space? And, like, they probably look at a company like Rovio with Angry Birds and are like, hey, these are low effort, high reward kind of games. And then you look at all of Sega's best games, it's pretty much all these low effort, high reward games, like Sonic Dash or Sonic Forces Rivals or whatever. So it's like they're two similar companies in terms of how they are, like, in a mobile sense where it makes sense to buy them. But it's like, again, if you're an employee and you're pissed that you're still part-time after working as a translator for like 7 years and you don't have benefits and you're barely, like, recognized, but you're still working, busting your ass trying to translate 3 fucking Yakuza games in 1 goddamn year, and then you see this shit, you're like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, no, you absolutely deserve to be paid more for that kind of thing. Like, no, they can't be making purchases like this and then be upset when people try and unionize. Because, like, you can very clearly, you can give them what they want. You can give them what they want.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Sega and Atlus West are not a, like, crazy large company. Like, they're pretty big, but, like, most of their Western branch, I would say, is, like, half of them are probably dedicated just to Sonic, and then, like, 25% are for translating their games like Yakuza and Atlus games, while the other 25 are working on PC games like Relic stuff with, like, Command and not Command and Conquer, like Age of Heroes and stuff like that, where it's like they need, like, to give them what they want, I think, in terms of the stuff they're looking for in the unionization. I think the sad part is they probably really shouldn't have even had to unionize, but they know through years of trying that their management's not going to do it because they know enough people will, like, their logic for years has basically just been this. At least from an outsider's perspective, talking to people who have stayed and left Atlus over the many number of years. That's a company with so much nostalgia that someone would get paid less to work somewhere that means a lot to them emotionally. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you and me, if we got a chance to work at Atlus tomorrow, and we would be somehow making $1 less than what we're doing now, we would still probably take that job.
No, there's a part of me that's like, I would, as long as I enjoyed the work more and it's not killing me and stuff. Like, oh, it's $1 less. It's like, okay, well, I'm enjoying things better. Yeah, like I probably would, as long as it met the other things. But yeah.
So it's disappointing that it's now into this thing of they feel like they have to unionize, and I just worry that if anything, this will just drive more people away. Because, like, we look at, and I mean, I'm not sure how it is, like, for you, like, I also, another reason I wanted to bring you on and ask you about this was, I feel like the notable names of people and translators at Atlus and Sega West are, like, I could count them on one hand now. A lot of the public-facing figures have left over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for you, who even comes to mind, like, in terms of, like, who's the Yakuza guy now? Like, who's the translator for all these games at Atlus that, like, a lot of these, like, people outside of, like, some of the higher management who are mostly just kind of been, like, just doing their own thing for a while, like, a lot of the people kind of in the nitty-gritty of this, like, we just don't hear from them.
Yeah, no, we don't know who any of these people are anymore, because the people who were the faces, they all left. Scott's gone for Yakuza, in the case of Yakuza. But then there'll be things like I feel like part of the reason why some of them might not be willing to come out as the face is because of some of the backlash that can happen when people because there's I feel like, especially in recent years, there's been more and more and more backlash to certain localizations and translations that just don't fit what people want, where it fits the idea of what they want. Because there'll be like one or two things that are off or weren't done correctly or weren't done perfectly. And then, of course, there are people who will, go way too far and they'll overstep and they'll end up inserting stuff. But no, there's just like, I feel like they might not want to be front facing because of any potential like harassment and online abuse they might face. And honestly, that's kind of another thing. That's another reason why they should probably unionize, is because it, talk with Sega and be like, yo, we got to deal with these things. We're the ones who would take the hit if people end up, not being happy and stuff.
Yeah, my nightmare scenario for this is going to be this. Sega Japan sees this, and they go, okay, we aren't going to give you what you want. What is your hardball? And half of them are going to probably say, if not more, well, if you're not going to give us what we want, then we're going to walk out, or we're going to do like a protest or something, like we saw with when like even like games media was doing like walkouts. I think it was like Polygon, and even like the New York Times were doing it like a past couple of years ago, and even I think to an extent with Raven. And I think if you're a Japanese company as big as Sega, you're going to see that and go, okay, we're going to cut all these people's jobs off, and if it doesn't make sense for us to translate our games in the West anymore, they're just going to do it all internally in Japan for probably way cheaper. because it costs them
Mm-hmm.
way less money to have way more staff in Asia than it does in the West.
Mm-hmm.
So then you gotta kind of think like, okay, because like think about the amount of like weird little things that like wouldn't have happened without the Western pushes we saw from Sega over the last couple of years. We would have never gotten a PC port of any Yakuza game ever, probably. We still probably wouldn't be even be having like worldwide releases, and there's so many like little like no duh decisions. Like by the time we even got them, it was always so sad that like most of the fan base would be like, well, no duh, that's how it should be. But from a behind the scenes standpoint, it was like pulling teeth.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate that as much as I think about it, I just don't. Like unless they have a really aggressive, like either protesting or game plan with this, I don't know how they're going to get Atlus Japan or Sega in Japan to care at all. Like they have
Mm-hmm.
so much like fuck you money. Like, cause think about it like this. Like Mac, what is Sega's not cash cow in terms of like what are they most known for? Like just as a general for a company, what is Sega's biggest cash cow?
Mm, I'd say at this point, well, I mean, it's probably some freaking sports game that I don't even pay attention to.
No, but good guess with Football Manager. That is actually pretty profitable. But no, it's just Sonic as an IP. Not even Sonic games. Just Sonic as an intellectual property keeps them
Yeah,
afloat in
merchandise.
ways that other companies wish they could. And my whole response to that is then like, do you remember them talking about Sonic Frontiers and like, oh hey, we put a lot more money into this than we normally do for Sonic games? Like
Mm-hmm.
Sonic games should have a budget the size of 9 Mario games or like any the way like people get mad at Pokemon games for having a quote unquote low budget, like is how they treat Sonic. And not because they don't have the money. They put probably more money into Yakuza games. And that's only because the team like forces them to do it because of like history and like sales. But like they have the money. It's not like they're needing loan sharks to like make these games like get into development and finish like see it through. They just know if we keep it cheap enough, we can do a fucking Bloomhouse job on this. And if we can get this game to come in at under $50 million, we'll make at least 4 times back in profit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that frustrating thing of like it's this company that has more money than they're willing to spend. So why or how can the employees change their mind? And I mean, I love the internet. I don't know how much goodwill a petition will get. Now, obviously, if their fan base completely turned tail on them and said, hey, fuck you, we're not going to buy any games until you unionize, that would be great, but also realistically, there's no way that's ever going to happen in a way that is ever going to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, with that, like what do you think are like the realistic options people have at their disposals, if anything? Because like one of the things that I always feel bad about, like a bringing up and but b also kind of trying to think about it is like I appreciate what a lot of companies want to do with unions and unionizing in America, but man, a lot of it feels like a fucking uphill battle that feels really hopeless for like a lot of people out there, especially in like the entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
Because like every, we're in a world where everyone feels replaceable, you know, and it sucks to kind of have that thought go into something behind of like, hey, let's get all these people out there and stand up for a good cause. Where it just kind of feels like, man, I really worry that like people are going to talk about this for one day and no one's going to give a shit in a week.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because there's a lot of people online will be very like they'll be very supportive in the moment, but then like once it's kind of leaves the news cycle, people just stop talking about it. They stop caring, and it's unfortunate that it happens, but it's also true. I don't know, just hopefully I feel like people in general are not going to be caring about this in a week or so. Once time moves on, we get far enough away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I don't know.
By the way, Mac, do I gotta let you go? It's after 8. I just realized I've been rambling.
Yes, yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. Okay, well, yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. You gonna keep going, or you just gonna
I'm gonna
end this
keep going.
thing?
I'm gonna open the floor to see if anyone has any thoughts on it. If not, I mostly just kind of wanted to ramble and have you on here. But hey, we might as well at least say it's our Super Mandible Clause question. Mac, how hyped are you for Xenoblade DLC?
I am literally I downloaded it while you were rambling.
Do we
Um,
have that explains your great answers? Do we have an idea how long this puppy is yet?
we have no idea just yet.
You want to make a bet?
I
Will it
mean,
be longer than Future Connected or shorter than Torna?
okay, so actually, correction. We do know. So with the third wave of DLC, people were able to data mine it, and they were able to figure out exactly how many cutscenes are in the game.
What the fuck? Are you serious?
Yeah, and not only that, but there are names for the
Oh
cutscenes.
no.
Um, I haven't gotten spoiled. I got spoiled on one cutscene name, but it was such a nothing name. So I'm like, okay, I'm good. Um, but there are more cutscenes than there were in Torna.
Interesting. All right, man. Well, I'm excited.
So
I'm excited to see what you think. And everybody, if you don't see Mac back on Game Explain talking about it, just keep tweeting at Andre until he does that.
yeah, do that totally. Yeah.
Well,
I'm
Mac, before you leave, tell everyone where they can go find you, stalk you, like you, click you, and watch you.
Yeah, of course, of course. You can find me over on YouTube at Maka. You can find me at Maka on YouTube, JBO Maka, basically everywhere else, Twitch and Twitter. Is either just Maka or JBO Maka. I am going to go and boot this up and start playing.
I don't know why I was ready for you to just be like, I'm gonna cream myself right now. Me
I'm gonna
cream right now tonight.
I'm gonna cream
All right. Well,
me.
enjoy the Street Fighter 6 demo. I'll talk to you later, and try not to be too spoiled by what I'm sure is going to be the next 48 hours of Xenoblade hell on Twitter.
Yeah. I'm staying the hell off Twitter.
All right, man.
I'm staying the hell off everything until I beat this thing.
Have a good one.
Okay, bye bye. Let me pull up Discord so I can actually hit end call.
Boop, boop,
Okay, bye. Thank you for having me. Bye bye.
boop, boop. All right, everybody. Well, before I get out of here, I at least figured I would open it up the floor. So if you are in the SMTN Discord, there's a link for it on YouTube, should be. If you have any thoughts on the lovely thought of unionization, Atlus, Sega, them doing unions, is it dystopian, is it fruitile, or you just want to ask me a question in general, just let me know. I'm going to be here. Everyone in chat, thanks for popping in. I enjoyed kind of rambling at you all today, but I kind of wanted to talk about this. This is a little like mini podcast, getting back to what we're trying to do, at least with this show. Always easier said than done, unfortunately, because Jesus H. Christ, 2023. A year that will constantly just keep trying to kick me until I am down. But, hey, if you'd like to help keep me not down, you can go to patreon.com/SMTN. You can support the show just like a ton of lovely people do. If you guys don't know, we're trying to save up to go to Anime Expo. And if you would like to help donate, you can go to Patreon. That's a great way. There are one-time donation links on like my Venmo at Torchwood4SP or PayPal and stuff like that. But basically just trying to make our trip to Anime Expo 2023, covering that concert, as amazing as humanly possible. So wanted to give another bit of a shout out to that. Every little bit helps, and especially all the people on Patreon really, really help with that. And you guys have just been so awesome in terms of supporting the channel and everything for it. I've got some giveaways planned. Like I said, the schedule's getting back to normal. Trying to go back to weekly. Trying to make the last 3 months of God only knows when the podcast is happening. That be a thing of the past. Fingers crossed. So, I have felt so bad about not being able to do it more, but it's just been that thing of life being a pain in the butt. I have an update video that I've been kind of working on in the background. It was supposed to be ready for Monday, but honestly, just kind of wanted to add a couple of other things and sort of like redo it, just trying to decide the right way to get it. But shout out, though, to all the SMTN patrons, especially the ones of the executive producer tier. So really, really big shout outs to all the people at the $5 and up tier. Speaking of tiers, gotta fiddle around and get it here now. Boop, 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 boop. Patrons. But yeah, seriously, even the $1 and up tier really, really helps, really means a lot. Let alone people out there who are donating $5 or more. So shoutouts a ton to executive producers Budweiser Tall Can, Cameron Sharp, Carlos Hernandez, Contraband, Crossridden Ren, Demi Crow, Dozy Bear, Dr. Luma, Goro Casero, Jazzy Jefferson, K Horse, Mirth Mouse, Patrick Dissart. You guys, also Philip Meyer, almost forgot. And Robert Magadella. And Sabrina as well. Hold on, I think I'm missing one more. And Solaire! Almost forgot Solaire. Oh, and also, Stuart, Edwin Bateman. Thank you all so much for being executive producers. It means a ton. I'm trying to actually look for Jaginga. I don't think Jaginga's died. I know Jagingas didn't actually die in terms of, like, as a human. But, nope, there he is. Jagingas. Still the top patron. Can't let the Jagingas be forgotten. But, seriously, yeah, all the support has really helped and really meant a lot. Getting back to normal. Trying to do our best. Oh, by the way, thanks to everyone watching live on YouTube tonight. Bad Wrong Fun, Red Hood, Super Mandible Claws, Crosser Ren, Dr. Luma, Alex A. Craft Team as well said, Atlus West deserves so much more for putting up with the Western fanbase and the dinosaur management of Atlus's main branch in Japan. Carlos Hernandez says, Sega of America was the one pushing for rollback and Ultimax. Well, that for sure, but also a lot of just sensible thinking, too. Craft Team's question, why are you so cool and sexy? Craft Team, my question for you, can I make a new GoFundMe to get those beautiful goddamn Digimon cards out from under your desk? Carlos Hernandez, will Sega pull a Square Enix and use AI for translation? Never say never, but Jesus, I hope that never comes true. And Bad Wrong Fun says, I just really wish them the best. I'm expecting things to be really uphill for a battle. Yeah, seriously, especially after like putting this up there. I've reached out for contacting them. It's kind of weird. Like, this isn't really a thing you can kind of get someone like on for interviewing in a normal way, but like there are some like at least some questions I'd like to ask anonymously and see like what we might be able to find out in terms of things that could possibly help. So hopefully this is not I shouldn't say hopefully. This is definitely not the last time I'm covering A.E.G.I.S. and their unionization efforts. Craft Team, don't feel bad. I always, like, when I go and, because the new Digimon card game released, and I was running the pre-release tournament, and I was talking to someone about, like, I was like, I promise, I have Digimon Survive cards. They're just halfway across the world. Because, you know, when I finally get those, like, I'm just going to, like, put them in my little binder and, like, be happy. Or at least pretend to be happy. But, hey, Digimon Survive art, making me a little bit happier. But yes, that's the show. I think we're pretty much there anyway. We're just about like at 45 minutes, so nobody really popped into the town hall. This was an impromptu episode. There was no planning. There was nothing else really going on. If you have thoughts, though, on the Atlus and Sega unionization plans, please let me know in the comments below. Whether it be YouTube, Twitter, follow me on Twitter at Torchwood4SP or the podcast at SMT Network. You can join the Facebook group by going to facebook.com/groups/SMT Network. I already mentioned the Patreon, patreon.com/SMTN. If you're going to be in the Overland Park or Kansas City area, I will be going to NakaCon in May. So Midwestern fans unite. We'll be doing some fun stuff there, as is tradition. Anime Expo in July, like I told you. YouTube, hoping to get an actual, not just live stream or video dump on there soon. I've got a couple of video ideas. I just need to sit down, edit them out, and finally get them out there. And a potentially special guest coming back on maybe in the next week or two. We'll have to wait and see. That's another headache I've been dealing with. That is completely all my fault, sadly. But, yes. Either way, everybody, thank you all so much for popping in. Craftium, thank you for holding on and babysitting those cards for me. Trust me, I have I'm not mad at all. I honestly just find it more funny than anything. But, Bad Wrong Fun, Red Hood, everybody else still here watching and listening live. Thank you. If you're listening after the fact, don't forget to subscribe, whether it be on Spotify, iTunes. If you have a review, can give 5 stars or just share to a friend. It really, really helps. Same with subscribing on YouTube. All the algorithm stuff really, really does help. And I would like for this not to be my worst year ever in terms of growth, just in the sense of, like, not because, like, I'm an egomaniac who, like, needs to be popular and make a lot of money, but just because, like, I love having this community grow. I've been doing it for 11 years for a reason, and I don't want to let weird algorithms out there stop more of us SMTN fans from coming together. So every little bit helps. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. I will see you all next week for another episode of Shin Megami Tensei Network, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye, everybody.